Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to this channel, Mr. Teroxi. So earlier this year I made this video about the best nations to play inside Rise of Nations Roblox, and you guys seem to enjoy it pretty much. So here I'll be making a part 2 video of that same topic. So this is the best nations to play inside Rise of Nations Roblox part 2. So without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into the video. Alright, so starting off our list we have Brazil. So a good country that I forgot to mention in the previous video because I didn't want to make it too long, but here it is. There's a lot of reasons that I choose Brazil to be the first country in this list. A huge part of your country will have the biome jungle, so if we switch to biomes, you can see that nearly all of your country is covered by jungle, and this means that the invading forces will have to face attrition before reaching your big cities, coastal cities like Rio de Janeiro or Brasilia. And your country is also very hard to invade because just look at this. If I switch back to political map and I view all the city, I have a total of 381 cities inside my country, not mentioning that there's like 3 cities that have a population of over 10 million. So you can see that you can form the Empire of Brazil, or the South American. This is basically the United States of South America. So economically, Brazil start off with a pretty big economy. This is not the money that it starts with though, because the game have been going on for quite a long time now, so the money just stacks up. But you will be starting off with a 12.8 million income. This is because of when you go to your country here, and then you click on ideology, you are starting off as a democracy, and if you just look closely, it says that democracy tax income plus 110%, and that is the reason that Brazil gets so much money right from the get-go. Speaking militarily, Brazil is one of the mightiest in its region, just behind the United States if we count the Americas as a whole. You see, you will start with a 640,000 active personnel divided into 8 divisions of 80,000 men. So you also start off with a larger manpower pool than most of your neighboring countries. So you'll start off with a 2.5 million manpower pool, and it adds up 6,700 men every turn. So adding up to around 3.1 million if you count the active personnel plus the manpower pool right from the start. So the second country in our list is Iran, or the Islamic Republic of Iran. Okay, so to begin with the geography of the country, I would say it is both blessed and cursed. So let's take a look at this. So if we click on biome, you can see that most of Iran's terrain is just mountains after mountains. Some are semi-mountainous and some are just arid, which means that an invading army would have to cross through mountains, and you can just plant artillery behind them and wreak havoc and hell amongst the invading army. You will have a weak neighbor, at least to the east, the stance, to watch out. If Russia wants to form the Soviet Union, you gotta talk it out because you don't want to get invaded by Russia. So your threat in early game is pretty much non-existent, but later into the game, India, Russia, Saudi Arabia or Turkey can be a threat to you, or Pakistan if he's expanding to the west. You will have a good amount of formable. If you go there and you scroll, you will have 3 formables. I forgot the name of this empire, but this seems to be the easiest one: the Islamic Caliphate and the glorious Persian Empire. Speaking militarily, Iran is not a very strong superpower from the start, but so you'll be starting off with 180,000 home guard divided into 2 divisions of 90,000 men each, one stationed in your capital city Tehran and one more to the east. Your manpower will be 645,000, and it will start to increase by 2,300 men each turn. Economically, I would say that Iran struggle a little bit, but nevertheless it can strive due to its oil production. If we hover over all of our country and click on resource, you can see that we produce 13.97 units of oil. Estimated it would be something like 14. So if we check it out, we can see that Iran have a very good amount of oil. You see most of them is in this area, and you can keep on developing cities. Since most cities in Iran is not that big, you know that you can develop city for not that big amount of money also. So yeah, so as I mentioned, Iran is a very good country to play, but here's the little tip from playing Iran. So if you're planning to push out, watch out for the stance because Russia might get aggressive and bad thing might happen. Alright, so the third nation on our list here is going to be a good old Japan, land of the rising sun. Talking about geography, we all know that Japan is just a bunch of islands together under one government control, which is the case. You can see here that Japan stretches from here all the way here. There's a blessed and cursed to Japan geography as well as Iran's. So you see, the blessed thing is that since your country is basically an island, any invading force will have to cross by sea, which you can then use your navy to wreak havoc on them. But one more thing is that when you want to expand, it's also pretty hard. And one more thing is that Japan is known notoriously for having no resources at all. I mean, not at all, but a lot of important resources is missing in Japan. So if I look at resource, it produces only 4 units of oil, 3 units of copper, and 1 unit of gold. And Japan have a total of 69 cities, and the biggest one being Tokyo. It is also the biggest one in the world, at a population at 35.7 million people. Alright, so let's talk about the economy of Japan. If we can check, it starts off with the democracy, so it means that it makes a lot of money, which is the case. And one more thing is that Japan does not make this much money, because this is, again, I have been waiting in the game for a little bit longer, so money just stacks up. But nevertheless, you start off with nearly $10 million income from your 69 cities. Most of them are big cities. A lot of them have a population of around 500,000 to 1 million people, and most of them also more than 1 million people. Military of Japan. So Japan starts off with 450,000 active personnel divided into 4 divisions, which 3 of them is stationed in the southern part and is 90,000 men each, adding up to 27,000, with the last one being 180,000 stationed at Tokyo, the biggest one by far. So Japan doesn't have a big manpower reserve, only 897,000. I mean, it's at least not big compared to its neighbor like Russia or China, but to other neighbor like the Philippines, Taiwan, or South North Korea, it is pretty big. So yeah, the thing is, I want you to focus on your navy more, because your country is basically an island, so it's more defendable with a navy. So Japan has only one formable, which is the Empire of Japan, which require you to invade everything here from, you know, the Koreas to the Philippines to the Southeast Asia part. And this might be hard, because if China just say invade North Korea, then your whole plan would be screwed, and you don't want to go war with China early on, because you know they're way stronger than you. But later in the game you can try go war with China, because a good Japan player can certainly hold off China and even invade them if you wanted to. Alright, so fourth country on our list here is Italy, a country in Europe, finally in this list. So let's talk about more details about Italy. So when you start off as Italy, it doesn't get the biggest manpower and home guard in its region, but thanks to its geography, there's not that really much to worry about. So some of your neighbor, like Germany for instance, can be a threat, because you know, like they have a bigger army and a manpower than you. Or France can be a little like aggressive and threaten you, but no worry, your army and the French one is similar. So you see, you start off with 120,000 home guard, 1 unit only stationed in the capital city of Rome, and a manpower of 442,000, which is increasing by 2,200 every turn. So not the biggest army in Europe, and certainly not the biggest one in the world, but pretty good thanks to its geography, which we'll be talking about next. So the only good thing about Italy and its geography is that, first of all, it is a peninsula surrounded 3 sides by water. So let's say if these countries from the east, in this case Austro-Hungarian Empire, want to invade, they need to cross this Adriatic Sea. So here, if the Spanish want to invade, they need to cross the Western Mediterranean Sea, and if the German or the French want to invade, they will have to cross the mighty Alps. So it will gonna slow down their advance. But here's the thing, if they cross the Alps or cross the sea, the entirety of Italy is just basically flatlands. So the only mountains is here, and the only protecting is the sea. Yeah, so that's what Italy have to offer if you're speaking about geography. So speaking about economy, Italy is not the strongest in Europe or in this game, but it starts off with only a $1.7 million income, but it only spends $240,000. Let's talk about the formable of the Italian players. So you have 2 choices to either form the Italian Empire, which is, you know, the invade Africa, or form the legendary Roman Empire, which you need to invade every one of these countries, and it is certainly the hardest one. But if you can do that and you have the time, it is very worth doing it. So we can't just make this video without mentioning India. So this will be our last country on this list. So let's take a look in it in more details. So first of all, let's talk about the geography of the country. So India, as we all know, is a very big country, and this is certainly the case because as you can see, it stretches from the Indian Ocean in the south all the way to the Himalayas, which shield your entire northern border from China, preventing any invasion. To your west, you have Pakistan. It can be a threat to you, but early game it won't be really a threat. You will probably be a threat to them, but if they know what they're doing, they can repel an invasion and invade you. So to your east is just a bunch of weak countries. They cannot do any real threat to you. To your south is just a way weaker country than you. You can just easily invade them. And you have this one island off the coast which you can use as an invasion spring to Thailand or Malaysia or something like that. So basically into Southeast Asia. So India, you start off as a democracy. So if you check your ideology, you start off democracy, which again means making a lot of money. And by a lot, I mean that you make $18 million income right from the get-go and only spend 2.3 million, which make you have like a $15 million profit. And you do start off rich because you see, if we select all the city in India, we have 212 cities, and a lot of them is over 1 million in population. These three all require XP to play. So India requires you like 144,000 XP to play. So if you want to play it when you just start the game, you cannot. So talking about military, India is also one of the mightiest nation on earth. So you start off with 7 units, which most of them spread around the country, most of them being 130,000 strong men unit and totaling at 1 million active personnel, which biggest one stationed in this city in your eastern part of the country. You also have a 4 million manpower pool and adds up 10,000 every turn. So it is a very big and powerful army that you don't want to mess with. Alright guys, so that video was not a video that I mentioned a lot of country inside it like last video, because I want to give you guys some more details about each countries rather than giving you a lot of countries but a little detail. So it would be better for you guys to understand each country. And also don't forget to smash that subscribe button because we're aiming to get 2k subs and we're getting close to it. And I really appreciate those who still watch my contents and those stuff. So yes, I love you all. I wish you all the best and stay safe through these hard times, and we can make it through this together. And yeah, that is what I have to say, and goodbye.